Alright, and back to cleaning the Lost City Palace. Quite a mouthful. Okay. So where do we get up to? We were doing the inside, and we've done the top level. That's all looking nice and sparkly. The floor was still needed though, so I think we... How did we get up here? We step up here, jump up here. Oh, we can also run around the outside. I should have done that. Never mind. We do things the hard way, clearly. Let's start by... You know what? Let's just work our way around the murals. I want to see what these murals look like. I don't know which one to start with is the annoying thing. I guess we'll just start with any of them and then we'll just assess which ones look to be the first in the sequence. So this has the fire helicopter. Just the fire station in general. These are great little hieroglyphs. It's kind of fun. So you got the fire station, the fire truck, and the fire helicopter. I'm not going to take the time to translate all of that stuff, but I believe someone's done that. So what's this one here then? So they're themed as opposed to in order anyway, it looks like. So we've got the laser gun. What's the lion being pulled? I'm confused by that one. I get this one. I don't get that one. Oh, the monster truck cat. The cat monster truck, rather. That makes sense. Okay. Cool. This will be the mayor's house. Yep. Mayor's house and the barge. Yep. Perfection. What's this one then? This will be the backyard with the barbecue and everything, and then the race car. Yep. I'm not sure about that one, unless that's just the shed that's out the back. I think it is. Oh yeah, because it had the star over the door. That's right. Cool. What's this one? The UFO and the statue. Yep, and the pointing finger. Oh, so the UFO is meant to dock on top of the pyramid, Stargate style. That's cool. Got the dinosaur at the playground. Nice. The skate park. Yep. There's the rest of the playground. And yeah, that's the rest of the skate park, because they had the big watermelon thing. Yep. Nice. It's fun how they've done the art style to depict the various places. This will be the, like, haunted house place. And then it's there, yep, the old car, and then the RV. That's where we got the RV from. Some of the other miscellaneous vehicles. We've got the motorbike, we've got the sidecar, we've got the penny farthing and the dirt bike. Yep. Leave the big one till last. Oh, we already are. So what's left? There's the van. Yep, so... Oh no, there was an SUV, that's right. And there was like the fairground and stuff too. Oh, so that'll be my van. This is the SUV. And there's the mole machine, the digging machine. So no fairground, love? Is there more murals downstairs, maybe? Let's do the outsides here. Probably do the ceiling first, to be fair. To do this. Working our way out. Hey Razor, welcome, welcome. stream a bit later? Yeah. So we had stuff this morning, and I was watching GDQ this morning because I wanted to watch the Scarlet Violet run that Etiquette was doing. But then I was less interested in Mario. I'll tune back in on that later today for the finale. But I thought, you know what? It's the weekend. Tomorrow I might stream first thing, but my parents are coming around after that. So, yeah. There's so much got to do the VODs thing, work is a mess, yeah. I, like, theoretically can watch during the day while I'm working, but I'll miss far too much stuff. So I generally wait until the... Like, they've already started putting the stuff onto YouTube. I hate using the VODs on Twitch. Like, I'll check in live on things at least once a day to see how they're going in terms of donations and everything. But then otherwise... Oh, the archway's one big thing, okay. Yeah, otherwise I'll just wait until the highlights are on YouTube. And yeah, they're starting to have them on there now, so I can go back and pick up some of the earlier runs. And I've been putting some of the interviews and prize segments and stuff on there too, which is cool. So you're not missing out on those parts of it either. Because otherwise those you used to have to just go back into the live streams. Or they'd have them at like the start or end of a run and you couldn't tell where it was going to be. Oh, this whole outside area is also the archway. Okay, well, we'll leave that then. I guess we're... Oh, this is part of the wall? You'd think this could be like archway floor or something instead of just being part of the wall. That's a bit disappointing. But yeah, I'll pick up on more of the VODs of what I want to watch over the next few weeks. You know, I still go back and watch runs from years ago, so, you know, they're not going anywhere. What is this level? This is the final level. I started it yesterday. In the first hour and a bit, I managed to do 4%. Just to give you an idea of what's ahead. That was cleaning up above. I then came inside here and it's not been so bad. The grime is a lot easier to shift. It doesn't have mold or barnacles or anything inside. So we've managed to do some good gains on the percentage. But that will start to stop again as soon as we venture back outside. But I had the thought that the time-lapse is probably going to be outside, so I've done a bit up the top. Now there'll be a period of me doing nothing because I'm inside, and then I can go outside again. For a level like this, instead of doing a time-lapse, they really need to do like a house flipper style walkthrough instead. Would be nice. But yeah, this is a big level. I mean, it makes sense that the final one would be difficult. We'll probably get a couple of sessions in this afternoon. I'm not going to go, like, super long on it. I'll be, yeah, taking a usual sort of stop at around an hour mark or so, and then I'll come back and do a bit more, and then 4 o'clock my time I'll have to pop out to do the heavy lifting, and then I might come back for a bit longer. It's leftovers for dinner, so we don't need to cook, so that's a start. It'll depend on what our progress is like too. Like, I know that this is going to be a hell of a thing to finish off, especially. The final bits around the outside are going to be tough. In here it's just a case of how best to do it in just a kind of pleasing way. Because all of this is just floor. There's no divisions. Do a little bit of kind of up down. So I don't want my wrist doing just one direction the whole time. Barbecue tomorrow makes season. Nice. Yeah, gotta do the fetch quests for that though. I need to be careful with the side-to-side movements on my wrist at the moment because I've been playing Spin Rhythm XD because that was on the rhythm block on GDQ yesterday. They had a showcase of that and it looked so fun and it was 33% off, so I bought it. They were playing it with an actual turntable, like a DJ turntable, but you can just play it by clicking and moving your mouse side to side, so that's what I've been doing. Real fun game. Simple but effective. Way back to rush list to see what's going on. Oh, we've hit 20% finally. At one point I thought that this was going to take us like however many hours to do, like 20 videos to do or something, 20 hours, because of how slow we did to start with. But the fact we managed to get to 20% within like 3 hours gives me some hope. It won't be as bad as it could have been. I don't have much hope that I'll finish this weekend, but I want to try and get close if I can. Obviously this week I want to be getting in on practice for Bingo-thon next weekend. It's not the sort of run you can really practice for though, because, you know, there's a lot of random elements to it. It's at the same time random, but also fairly straightforward. There aren't all that many twisty-turny objectives that I've managed to think of. Nothing that would make it too difficult, at least. Seems like this is like the bottom of this section of wall, and then just underneath this point is when the next section begins, so that's kind of weird. That's alright, we'll come back and do that. I guess that's probably the next thing to do, is after I finish the gallery floor inside here, to not do the inside at the bottom, but to go out and do the pyramid down to this point. And then pop back inside and do the lower level. And then work our way around the outside of the pyramid itself. We've got a nice location, at least. I guess we can work our way from, like, this part. Oh, central opening floor is different, at least, from gallery floor, so that's a start. We've got a little bit of difference. So that's nice. So I think we'll clean off the middle area first, and then we'll work our way to the outside. Have to do all the lower part too? Yep. On the one hand, I don't like just giant levels in particular, ones that are just big for the sake of being big, but at the same time, this one is at least a bit more interestingly designed than, like, the subway, for instance. At least this has some cool designs and stuff. It's not just massive big walls with nothing across them. I just really want to get this monkey off my back of finishing off this campaign. Finish this challenge run once and for all. Then we can start working our way through some of the special levels. I'll probably clear the decks of all of the special ones before I start doing like the run it back with the Pro Washer. That's more of a stretch goal. Because at the same time, on the one hand, I think people will enjoy seeing that, but that's also like, most people have done maps with the Pro Washer, you know, that's what you expected to do. Most people who have videos of playing this game will be using a more appropriate washer. The reason I was wanting to do this challenge run is because it's something different. What we might even do with the Pro Washer run, it'll just be in free play, and I might just do it without even like commentary or anything, and I might not necessarily even stream it. I might just record those offline because they'll probably be pretty quick, and I'll just chuck on some like ambient music or even record it without music, see how long it is, and then kind of mix together some stuff to go along with it. And it'll just be more of like a chill out ASMR experience instead of listening to me waffle on about God knows what. Because the longest of those levels is likely to be, well, this one, or the subway. And like the first time I did the subway, it was only a couple of hours instead of 9 or whatever it was with the basic washer. So most of the maps, levels, most of them will be flying past. Just chill video, yeah, basically. And that's the thing, is I might not even add soundtrack, just do it, just pure gameplay. Because if people want music, they can play music while they watch something. You know, people might just want to listen to the sound of the power washer. Don't know, haven't decided. Could even mix it up and do a little bit of everything. But yeah, that'll definitely be the easier thing to do. I'll clear the specials first. There's the Tomb Raider ones, like I've already done the Final Fantasy themed set because I was more interested in those. I'm yet to do the Tomb Raider ones. And then there's some extra ones that I've added in, the Muckingham files, I think it was. And we'll get through those as well. I've already announced that there's going to be like a SpongeBob DLC or something. And Warhammer is also teased, which is hilarious. I would love for them to do a Subnautica tie-in. I don't know how that would work. And there's no reason that they would, but it would be fun. Cleaning a rocket. I was thinking initially cleaning the Legacy bases or something. But obviously most of those are underwater anyway, right? So it doesn't make sense, I just think it would be fun. The art style, like how things look and stuff, is quite similar to Subnautica in many ways. Like the game models and everything. They're kind of similar. Yay, ding. So it would be a good fit, I just don't know what you'd clean. So Neptune would make sense. Maybe some stuff from below zero. Like the Delta Island base you could clean, perhaps. But it's all wrecked, so I don't know. Have to see what their next series is. Or the next episode is. If they decide to continue it on. I really wish they would just continue it on instead of tinkering with the old games all the time. You could even have it just like a custom base, like a... just set in that environment, but just with custom base pieces, so someone has like a large room and a control room and stuff. You could do kind of like the Shinra level, the first Shinra level, where you're just cleaning vehicles in a display area. You could like have a display area where there's a sea moth on a pedestal, a prawn suit, a sea truck. Maybe a separate one where there's a cyclops. So there you go, there's one. That's one level idea. You're welcome, devs. A Neptune rocket on its launch pad would be kind of fun, I think. The QEP, maybe? Just clean the entire gun on the outside. That would be funny. Like the phase gate area at the end of BZ, perhaps? The Sector Zero base, if it was in like tip-top condition, you know, maybe on the idea that they go back and repair it. Or before it got destroyed, you know, you just do some time skip shenanigans, that's fine too. Set it in between the first game and the last. Well, the first game in BZ. Have like Marguerite contact you during the job and you go and clean her sea base. Just the inside from the underwater sea base, that would be funny too. Kind of like what they did with the bar, 7th Heaven, for the Final Fantasy stuff. Nothing wrong with doing that again. Already. I love doing these things where it's like, yeah, I'd prefer it if maybe the floor trim was a separate feature so that I could get a little bit more dingage. But I do at least like that it's not ingrained dirt, so I'm able to just waft over it with yellow nozzle, easy as you like, and just rack up some percentages. Because it will not last. How much is going to be left when it gives me the ding, I wonder? That's the other thing. So far this level I've been reasonably generous with things. I hope that continues. I don't want a repeat of some of the boat sections. I was just hunting for ages for things. You know what I really wish for sometimes? I wish that instead of using WASD keys, that I had like a thumbstick on my keyboard. Because using the mouse to aim is undoubtedly better than trying to use a controller. But using a controller for just movement is much smoother than having to tap, 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 tap all the time. There we go. Cool. So let's stand back and admire our current handiwork. There you go. There's the rest of the level. It looks deceptively small, but yeah, that's, what, 5 stories tall? Whee! Up we go. I guess we should, since we're right-handed, we should work our way around this way, I think. We can just maybe do an up-down motion, clean off one block's height at a time, we'll just work our way around. And it'll just look like we're peeling an apple from the outside. You know when you're peeling a fruit and you try and do it in just that like one continuous line? You ever do that? We're just gonna do that with this. It's a way to make a mundane task a little bit more interesting. Oh good, that's just texture. I thought for a second that there was like a ridge in between the blocks, and I was going to have to come back like facing the other direction to get the inside of it, but it's just some of the stuff has textures that look like dirt, but it's not. Like that looks like a dirty defect there still, but it's not. It's a little bit deceptive. See Mount Doom, or, well, Mount Rushless, but I think of it as Mount Doom, billowing away there in the background. I'm going to assume that after we finish cleaning this level, that it'll somehow magically stop the volcano again, in the same way that the ancient statue like sent out a beam to the volcano. I assume this just diffuses the whole situation somehow through the power of magic and time travel. But it's basically the same as having the power of God in anime. Basically, we're an anime protagonist. Can you imagine if they made a PowerWash simulator animation? That would be hilarious. I'd be keen for it. Just yet halfway through you have the inexplicable episode from the perspective of the mayor's cat that's gone missing for no good reason. This stuff is coming off super easy. I'm super glad that this is not anything ingrained. The top section had some of that ore stuff that was a little bit more tenacious, but that seems to have disappeared with this stretch. I don't expect it to last. I imagine that on the bottom stretches there's probably just barnacles all the way down, but it's a nice reprieve. Again, we're racking up some percentage, which is nice. Much like the subway, And the boat, I suspect, will, like, go to the point of having, like, 90%. We'll have 10% left, and it'll take me 2 hours to do that 10% or something. It's almost what it felt like with the fishing boat. I think it ended up being maybe an hour and a half or something to do the final 10%. I can't remember. I literally just published that video on YouTube, but I can't remember how long it was. Cool, well that's one layer done. Next. I hope you don't get dizzy. See, theoretically I could be like standing on the scaffolding instead of running around the side, but I'd have to keep moving the scaffolding all the time, and I can't be bothered with that. This feels like a better use of my time just walking around. Less downtime of just running about. Could possibly use the green? No. The green does nothing. Okay. The green nozzle, it does nothing. And I can't shoot too far away either, or that also does nothing. It's a tricky balance. But at least we get to appreciate the view a little bit while we're outside. Don't mind windows. Every time I think I've like disabled notification sounds, something else comes along that still does the alert noise. At least I'm not in the middle of recording something else. Dramatic music going. This is from Beyond Earth, I believe. See, now it looks cool, except for the fact that only the middle bit is moving. The rest is just static. Like, there's not even a minor particle movement effect or anything on that whole area. A little bit disappointed. And I don't think I've got settings turned down, because there's not really any reason to with this game. I want full wave effects, volumetric clouds, ray tracing. Actually, no, not ray tracing, because my computer couldn't handle it. But where's the remaster? Has anyone done a reshade yet? I'm not sure which is actually more efficient, doing like I'm doing here and just working my way around, or if I was to stay on the same face for longer and just work my way down and up and down and up. I think this might actually be a little bit better because I'm constantly cleaning, I'm not doing any double movement or anything. It's just a really awkward angle to clean a pyramid. I at least appreciate that I can stand on it, so I can do this. It's not like if it was a vertical building and I had to use the scaffolding, but at least if it was like that, it would just be a consistent shape. Like I'd only need to place the scaffolding at each end. or each side. It's still like 2 more blocks. I wonder if this is a good way of doing it as well. Maybe just, at least for now, just have a little bit of wrist movement variety. We'll start doing some blocks like this. The problem with the side-to-side motion is that's where I keep accidentally right-clicking to disable the auto spray. I also really wish, cleaning this sort of surface, that I had a 45-degree angle, instead of just being stuck between horizontal and vertical. A 45-degree cleaning angle would be so freaking nice right now. Anytime you're doing like trellises and stuff as well. Wrong button. Doing 24%. We're almost a quarter of the way done, which is nice. And we're not even halfway done any of these wall pieces. Does this go all the way? No, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, because I found that it was the layer just underneath the entranceway, but I'm still above the level of the entranceway, and that was a tall door. So there's probably another, like, 6 rows or more of stone still to come. So yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to be dizzy. Let's look at the surface a little bit more. It's less scenic, but I'm getting a bit of a better cleaning angle this way. And ultimately that is what's more important. Okay, now down to the next layer. Whee! Round and round the pyramidion, the power washer chased the algae. That's all I got. Is that dirt or texture? It was dirt. Okay, this is actually a little bit nicer than constantly moving. I'll just stop-start like a spider instead. Spider sprayer. Spider sprayer. Does whatever spider spray does. There he goes. Spraying the wall. slowly going insane. I think by this stage of this challenge, I'm not surprised. Leaves kind of weird, irregular endings of things sometimes doing this, but it's still kind of nice not just constantly having to tap the arrow keys. Feels like I'm going quicker too. I don't know if that's true. I think that's more of a placebo, but... hard to get a little in-between angle sometimes. Problem with aim mode is, of course, you go too close to the edge of the screen and it turns you, which is extremely useful sometimes, but you get just a little bit far out of the spraying arc and it shunts your viewpoint just a little bit in a way that you don't want it to. Standing a bit close with that angle, I think. Oop, we went too far down. Too far down. Too easy to get carried away. Materials required for sea glide. Lubricant, battery, copper wire. Yes. Rubber, I don't think so. The first rubber you use for the knife, and then you have one left over, I believe. Oh, and one titanium. So it's lubricant, battery, copper, titanium. Copper wire, titanium. So this song is from the Persona 4 Dancing the Night game, which is honestly a game that I would love to play properly, but unfortunately it's a PlayStation exclusive. Now, I'm not encouraging anything, but I will say that there is a PS Vita emulator that works quite well. But the sound is a little crackly. Something about the audio codec doesn't work properly. It's mostly okay, but it's any time there's multiple sounds playing that it kind of screws up a bit. It's a bit of a stretch to pay several $100s for a separate console just to play some rhythm game. But I have been very tempted. Oh good, this bit's good, because I can stand on the roof of the entranceway there. I get a little bit of a reprieve from standing on such an angle. But I can't stretch it too far away, or it doesn't clean properly. This would be nicer if it was like one of those Aztec pyramids instead. And it was like stepped. But then on the flip side, then I'd have all sorts of weird crevices and stuff to have to clean, so maybe that would actually be worse. How to auto-unlock the Sea Glide blueprint and materials needed. You have to take lubricant and Sea Glide out of the random pool. Yes, probably. Basically, picking up creepvine seeds would not unlock anything, because, well, it depends if you want to gate rubber as well, because, like, the knife is kind of useful. The other option is don't give the blueprint. Just have the player start with the Sea Glide. Would that be easier? And then you can unlock the blueprint. If they lose that Sea Glide that they start with, tough. Then they have to find what unlocks the Sea Glide. But then you leave the Sea Glide in the pool, you don't need to worry about lubricant or rubber. But it's just a case of you start with basically like the basic tools, or like after the first not even 6 minutes really, because you wouldn't want to start with the base builder. It would just be like that first leg that you do before doing sandstone. So as a nice sort of leveler for everyone, I think if you could make it so that you just started the game in that sort of random run, and you just had the scanner, the Sea Glide, the because normally I think it's picking up. Is it picking up the first copper that gives you the battery that then also gives you the scanner or something? I can't remember. I'm not sure if that's actually gated or not, or if it just seems like it. But it's like, if you just start with that initial loadout of scanner, knife, Sea Glide, and oxygen tank, and maybe fins. And it's just a case of, you have those, have fun. So if you were to somehow lose them, like, you should never be able to lose them unless you literally drop them out of your inventory, because they will always be saved. Like, they'll be saved in your inventory the first time you leave your base. So I think the easiest thing to do would just be to have a starting loadout instead of trying to figure out what blueprints you could start with instead. Because that's kind of fun sometimes, like it's just one more check that's kind of a... what's the word? My brain is not working today. Something that's useless. What do they call it when it's like a prize that's useless? I don't know. Whatever. But it's like, congratulations, you've unlocked the Sea Glide. Great, I already have one. You get that in a lot of games with randomizers and stuff anyway. It's like, I already have that, or I already don't need that, or something like that. So having a few dud checks in the pool is not a bad thing. And yeah, it definitely means that you don't complicate things in terms of its components. Like, it would seem weird that, oh, I have a Sea Glide, but I don't know how to make one, but at the same time, so? Like, it doesn't matter. It's just that way you'd miss out on that first section, because, let's be honest, that first section is just always kind of meh. You know, making your first battery, getting the resources for the first lot of stuff for your, say, oxygen tank, Sea Glides and such. It's just get rid of that. Just standardize it. Just start with that basic stuff. Basically just start the run 3 minutes in. Then you can worry about going and fetching sandstone. I don't even know what gives the habitat builder unlock. Maybe you already have that. You probably already start with it. It's not like BZ where you have to find it. A lot of dud checks already. Oh, I know. Well, you still know. The dud checks from the perspective of if you're doing a randomizer any percent, but if you're doing like a bingo randomizer, there's a lot fewer checks are actually duds. Like if you have to make all of the miscellaneous items, for example, then you need all the chairs that would otherwise be useless. I think being able to just jump straight in, it's like early bike in Pokemon Rando, right? It's a case of you just have that, because it's just quality of life at that point. You don't need to spend 5 minutes every run faffing about. Like, obviously you can't start with a base or anything, because, you know, starting location is random, but you can at least control what is in someone's inventory. Or have some sort of post-load trigger that adds things to their inventory, perhaps. I'm not sure which would be better. And if stuff getting added to their inventory happens to unlock blueprints, fine. There's no guarantee that it unlocks the correct blueprints. You still have those random. That would be kind of fun if it's a case of you start with what you need to get going, but there's no guarantee that you know how to make any of it. Only the things that the game literally gives you when you start. That'd be kind of fun. It'd have to be a scan or a pickup or something. Even better, that's fine. It's one less complication. So yeah, I think it's just a case of you start with a loadout. You know, game loads in. Because it's like in creative, right? You know, when the game loads into creative, you don't actually have anything initially. Because we make it that, like, when you do a creative run, time doesn't start as soon as you load in. You can wait until after you've received your items. So it'd just be a case of whatever trigger it is that gives you those items in creative, where you get given the Sea Glide, the mobile vehicle bay, prop cannon, stuff like that. You obviously don't bother with the advanced items, but it's a case of... And it never gives you a scanner, which is funny. You start with the starting loadout. Like, it gives you the Sea Glide, the scanner, the knife, an O2 tank. Because then the O2 tank will get equipped when it goes into your inventory the first time, I believe, straight away. Fins. So, like, it gives you those things. So yeah, just a nice trigger of give the player these items. And if you're doing that sort of run, time starts when you receive your items, just like if it was a creative run. And then go forth and be confused. I just think that'll be a lot simpler than having to worry about what resources, blah blah blah. Yeah, just don't worry about it, just give the item. Again, if someone manages to somehow drop their knife and Sea Glide or whatever, or scanner, and, well, scanner they know how to make anyway, but if they manage to drop those things, they'll just have to go and pick them up again. Or they'll have to find how to make them again. Like, they'll always be where you died anyway, right? So it's not like you're... It would be very difficult to lose them, put it that way. Because it'll be kind of funny then, it's like, oh, I'm going out of my way, I'm going into the Lost River or something, and picking up something that would normally give me some advanced tech, and oh, I got the Sea Glide. Yay. Ion battery blueprint is the Sea Glide. At that point, it's like optional. Like, we could probably have a bit of a discussion on what you should start with. So I think the basics should be scanner, knife, Sea Glide, habitat builder, maybe as well. if that's a blueprint that you normally start with, then it's just start with the item, and so that way you just don't have to do that whole sandstone loop either. Because part of it is trying to remove that sort of barrier to entry, because otherwise if you've got like a novice runner running against an expert runner, by the time they've got a base set up, you're already 5 minutes behind or something compared to someone who knows the starting zone like the back of their hand. So it's removing those barriers. Focusing on the fact that a rando run is a problem-solving exercise where you're trying to find the right blueprints, not trying to get a base made and stuff like that. It's just... yeah. And as we've mentioned before, like I was talking about last time, it's like, if you could just have the Sea Glide give you 20 meters per second, maybe it's not as fast as actual Super Sea Glide, right? Maybe it's only 20 meters per second instead of 25, whatever. But it's like, it gives you more of a speed boost than it normally does. So you don't have to worry about Super Sea Glide, so that on the latest version of the game, it's better. And on... if it worked on older versions of the game, I guess it wouldn't. So I guess it's a moot point, but like theoretically, if you wanted a legacy version, it's like, well, you don't have to flood a base. But I'm assuming this would only work on the current patch anyway. O2 tank is locked anyways. Yeah, but it's like, why make someone make it, right? You may as well just give the player an O2 tank, fins, Sea Glide, knife, scanner. So here's your starting loadout. Basically, it's all the things that you'd expect should probably be in a submersible flotation escape pod anyway, right? There's no guarantee that you crash landed on a water planet that had titanium to make an oxygen tank. Why did they not just give you an oxygen tank in the locker? That would be the other way of doing it, is just have stuff sitting in the locker, but I think you just chuck it in the player's inventory straight away. Because yeah, it goes straight on their paper doll anyway. Don't think we're running on current patch. Yeah, that's the thing, but at the same time, it's easier to make mods work and stay working on current patch, surely. So I don't know. I prefer Legacy patch. I don't like old patch very much. The performance is terrible. I prefer Legacy. But at the same time, the new stuff has different rules, like, or different blueprints. Like, it would allow us to add things to bingo for, like, the large room and stuff like that, right? Yeah. I don't think I added much, to be fair, but... it would allow for a little bit of extra objectives. Yeah, Legacy is probably the best, though, in Compromise. I still kind of favour the idea of having Sea Glide just always go fast, so you don't have to worry about Super Sea Glide, though. Because again, that's one of those things that an experienced player will be able to set up a flooded base super fast, and will be quick enough with all their crafting and everything that they don't have to worry about they can't breathe in the base, whereas a novice runner will be constantly having to get O2 all the time and take longer to set up that base in the first place. So I kind of favour, if you're going to be modding things anyway, just make Sea Glide go 25 meters per second without needing to be flooded. And yes, you don't have the other SSG factors of, like, things ignoring you, but if you're going that fast, it doesn't matter. And if you happen to touch the tentacles and get poisoned, tough, you know, adds a bit more of a skill element there back into the game. Because SSG does feel like easy mode too much sometimes. Puts a little bit of onus on the execution, but not in the same manner that it is if you're just going slow. I'm honestly tempted just to mess with the game files on one of the versions of the game I have, or just probably make another, like, directory copy and just mess around with things purely for my own fun and enjoyment. And just play basically a screwed version of the game. Because I don't really care too much about running things for the leaderboards at this point. It's much more about just having a bit of fun. And I'm not sure how to make mods work. I don't know, maybe it's easy. I've not even looked into how to actually make a mod per se, but rather than needing the framework, I'd much rather just do a DLL hack. Just seems easier. At the very least, it would just be a fun, like, demonstration of, hey, this is what I think could work. Can we make this work as a mod instead so other people could have it? Because obviously I'm not going to distribute that shit. Like, for me, if it's on Legacy patch, doesn't matter. Because it will take me like 2 minutes to set up a base, flood it, and have Super Sea Glide. But I'm trying to think of how to make it easier for more people. Because that's part of the thing, like, listening to how people have talked about things at GDQ in terms of, like, because I've had a few randomizer runs, and some of the things that I just have as quality of life gains on the rando side of things is really good, and it just makes it so much easier for people to just get into it and have some fun. And then you can just get into the problem-solving element of, you know, obviously there's always going to be a bias towards people who know the map better because you know where the checks and stuff are. That's always going to be a case, but that's a lot easier to pick up. You know, you can study a map for that. It's hard to study a map for proper placement and execution of Mushroom Flood. Like, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but I know that some people have genuinely struggled with it, so clearly it isn't easy either. You should never assume that just because we know how to do it from hundreds of hours of practice that it's actually that easy to pick up and just do. Makes it safer as well if someone wanted to do like a hardcore bingo run. Hardcore bingo rando. That if you're not having to worry about a flooded base and lack of oxygen, it's just a little bit safer. Just always have Super Sea Glide. You know how to do it, right? I still mess it up. Oh, I still mess it up too sometimes, especially the specific placements that people found. Like the any percent placement for flooding the base immediately. Like, I can never actually get it immediately flood. I always have to pick up extra mushrooms and drop them underneath, because otherwise I just don't get the placement quite right. I think it's just slightly too high or maybe too low, and I despawn some things. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I can never get it in one hit. I just work around it. I just compensate for my own skill issue by working around it and preemptively drop a few extra mushrooms. I do keep meaning to go back into glitchless, at least. Like, well, put it this way. When we thought of, like, had the thing of the radiation warning timer plugin for LiveSplit, initially I thought, hey, I'll jump back into glitchless because now I can immediately reset. I don't have to waste 10 minutes every single time. I can immediately see, hey, this is a good radiation warning. I'm going to run with it. That would be great. But I really dislike the unstuck strats. I just don't like them. And if that's the best way of doing the run now, I just don't want to. I think what I might do instead is, because I can easily PB on just Legacy patch still, so I might just do that at some point. I do want to get back into that and just grind down my survival and hardcore glitchless times a bit more would be nice. Because yeah, at least I can immediately see if the radiation timer is trash. But I'd also have to have time to actually do that, and I wouldn't be streaming it. I would just be doing it through the week when I happen to have some spare moments. But you've got to have like a spare couple of hours, so... Maybe quicker to reset, but you're still going to have to reset a bunch. But I would like to practice that up again a bit. But for streaming Subnautica again, which I would like to do again, it is popular after all, is, yeah, the Bingo Rando idea is definitely more exciting to me than just getting back into doing like Bingo League again. I mean, if there's any sort of tutorial or guide or anything of how to get into modding Subnautica, then I'd be kind of interested. And maybe I can help out do some of it, so that way it's, yeah, you're not having to find time yourself to work on it, since I'm the one who wants to do a bunch of this stuff anyway. No guarantee I'll get time either, but... Because as it is, I don't know what tools you even use. So I don't usually do much programming on my own volition outside of work. It's not something I generally do. Mainly because then it feels a bit too much like doing work. How long are we going? Almost an hour 10. I'm going to finish off this archway area, if I can. What even are these bits that are like Palace pediment? What the hell is a pediment? Well, this I guess, but... Let's do the top of this here. And then we're going to take a short break. Go and get someone out of her chair. Go onto the floor. Probably finished watching some Paddington with Mummy. And then I'll get back to it. I also forgot to grab myself a drink before I started, so I really need to do that. So let's finish off this pediment. Learn all sorts of new words in this game, it seems. Okay. Time to take a short break, have a stretch, grab a drink. Recommend you do the same, and we'll be back shortly.